hands together for T. Pharaoh Muhammad.
A few years ago, I was working at my night job. I was working midnights at Warren Truck Assembly, where I was a supervisor, production manager. And I got a phone call from a very dear friend of mine who said that he wanted to talk to me about what was going on in my marriage. There was no secret that I was having marital issues, so I said, absolutely, I'll come talk with you. When I got off work, I called him. He said, well, meet me in Dearborn. He's an HVAC specialist, so he was working on a AC unit on the roof of an office building. So when I pull up, there's this ladder leaning against the wall. He says, come on up. So I scale the ladder, and I sit on the edge of the roof with him, and he goes in to tell me, I've got some very interesting information for you. He says, I've come to find out that your wife is having an affair. And not only is she having an affair, she's having it with someone that you know. And the worst part of it is that she's probably pregnant. So initially, my first reaction was shock, but ultimately I developed a cocktail of emotions because I couldn't make heads or tail of what he was saying. I knew we were having some issues, but I didn't know it was that. And so I ran down the ladder. I don't even know if I was facing the wall or facing the street, but I knew that I had to get down the ladder. And when I got to my car, he was standing behind me. He says, just be cool. How? So I took my fist and I hit my roof, the trunk of my car, and I broke my hand. And so I'm driving, and I got to shift with this broken hand. But the pain in my hand was nothing compared to what was in my chest. And so I'm driving, and I'm thinking, what am I going to say when I get there? What am I going to do when I get there? And the blue sky is turning red. Everything is just getting dark. And so I call her, and I ask her, why does Raymond think that you're pregnant with his child? She immediately hangs up. I call back, and she sends me the voicemail. Now I'm even more angry. And when I get there, she's gone. Perfect. So I go into the closet. I snatch out all her clothes. I go through the drawers. I snatch out all her belongings, and I'm slinging them right out the front door. I'm having a lawn party, and I'm the DJ. Everything. And I was in such anger, rage, disbelief, hurt, because I thought I had struck gold. She never let me come home to an unmopped floor. She never let me get into a bed that didn't have clean, fresh sheets. She never let me come home and not have dinner ready. I thought that she was the quintessential wife. And I thought that in return, my job was to make sure she didn't need anything. So all her clothes I bought, her car note paid for. We had a nice home in the Boston Edison district. We were going to fill it up with children, we thought. I said, listen, get through med school first, and then we'll talk about children. Because I don't want you to be set with a small child while you're trying to get through med school. That's not what she wanted to hear. And so I'm thinking of all of this as I'm slinging out more of her clothes and books and all of her stuff for school and work, and she pulls up. And she's crying. And she says, please don't do me like this. Don't throw all my stuff out in the street like this. I said, you're more concerned with the neighbors seeing your stuff on the ground than you are with carrying another man's baby. I think your priorities are messed up. And she's getting her belongings and she's putting them in her car and stuff in her trunk. And I'm standing there with this broken hand and this broken heart. And I watch her drive off. And as I watch her turn down the street, I had a very familiar feeling. A feeling that took me back to 8 years old when I watched my father's white Mercury Cougar pull off without him saying goodbye. So I never could understand as a child, well, why don't you want to hang out with me? I had this deep, dark feeling of rejection, unloved. Now, let me say this. My mom was absolutely the best. But I still wanted and needed the connection with my father. My whole high school career, athletically, he came to one football game and one track meet. When I was in grade school and we would have the father-son cookouts, the boys would ask me, "Where's your dad?" "Oh, he's a spy. He's on a special mission." I found rocks, and I would lie and say these were from the moon because my dad's an astronaut and he brought these for me as souvenirs. Yeah. So those feelings of rejection made me to find other people to validate me. And I had done that with my ex-wife. I had made her the object of my validation. So when she left, it made me to feel unvalidated. So as I'm having these thoughts about my father and her, I decided, let me call him and let him know how I'm feeling, because this is something right now that I'm discovering about myself. And I need to share this with him. So he comes over and we talk, and I say, I believe that my failed interpersonal relationships are rooted in my desire to be validated because you didn't. And all he could say was, "I'm sorry, son." But I wanted to hear, and I needed to hear him say, "But I love you." And during that moment, I said, listen, whatever happened yesterday, that's ancient black history. We here today, and we can start something new moving forward. Still hasn't happened. So, through all of that, I went upstairs after he left without saying goodbye again. And I went to my prayer rug. Now, at the time, I was making a nice living as a production manager at a six-figure income, company car, and all the things, all the accoutrements that come with doing the right thing, right? Go to school, get a good job. But as I was on my prayer rug and tears flowing down my face, I asked God this prayer. I said, I don't care about this car, this house, the bank accounts, or this job. I just ask you to bring me through this ordeal with my sanity intact. Because I can always get another job. I can always get some more money. I can find another house. But if I lose my mind, I may never find it again. So please just grant me that one thing, and the rest will be okay. And as I got up from my prayer rug and wiped my tears, I began immediately feeling something that I had been looking for. Self-validation. I know that I've graduated from being a believer to a knower. Because there is no way I could have gone through that without the help of something bigger and stronger than me. So I reflect on the footprints photo, and I know that during those few months, there's only one set of footprints in my sand, because I definitely was being carried. But as I come through that, I began to do some self-realization, because no matter what my ex-wife may have done, I had some hand in it. And I had to ask myself, what did I do or didn't do? See, I didn't understand love language. I didn't know what that was. I'm going out to the mall and I'm buying your clothes, I'm buying your food, I'm doing all this, I'm doing all that. You know, what else does a man need to do than provide for his wife? Her love language wasn't gifts and trinkets and things like that. Her love language was time spent and touch. And my job had me working 16 hours a day, and I very seldomly touched her. So she found someone else who would. I realize now that that was my hand in that. And it's okay, because I'm now a better person for going through that ordeal. There was a young lady that I met. Her name was Tiffany. She had a gorgeous face. Body was chiseled to almost perfection. I met her at the gas station. On Woodward in Hazelwood. And we exchanged numbers, and we went out a few times. We laughed and talked. She came to my house and helped me plant flowers in my backyard. And while I was on my journey to heal, I could tell that she wanted something more. She would put her hand on my knee ever so gently, and I felt no urge. Not because she wasn't attractive, but because inside I knew that I couldn't start something with her and I'm still broken from something else. The old me would have taken advantage, but the new me knows that that's not how we do things. And so I then realized I'm growing. And I'd ask God, why this for me? Out of all the things I could have gone through, why this? Why me? And it's because I had the shoulders to carry the weight. Because now there are other people who have gone through certain things like that who look to me for help, and I'm able to give that. I was a sacrificial lamb, I guess. And I'm fine with that. Because if I can come through what I went through and still love again, then you can too. That is my message. And that is what I hope other people will see and know when they hear this story. I'm nothing unique or special. I just realized that now the reason why I couldn't truly love outside wholly is because I didn't love truly inside wholly. And now that I do, I'm much better at being able to give what I've always wanted. And when you can come to that realization, that is the best gift you can ever give yourself. Thank you.
T. Pharaoh Muhammad.